Hey everybody, I'm Jim Dedelow. We just did a radio show for about 2.5 hours. I started out on the street, did it on Facebook Live, and then I came in. Today is Tuesday. That means Verly Suggs comes with us. And I typically do the radio show by myself, but Verly sits with me on Tuesdays. And she's a black woman, and she has a lot of pretty strong opinions. So there's a boycott going on right now. There's a group of mostly white guys that have this group of folks. They're kind of, I guess, community activists in their own way. They oppose the town theater being built. They've opposed the train, and they are boycotting the show on Tuesdays. And that got some pretty lively discussions. A number of people called or texted in or Facebooked in that they really liked that these guys weren't calling in, and that they really look forward to Tuesdays. And then, of course, there's some folks, mostly older white guys, that will not listen on Tuesdays because Verly's there. And I'm not exactly sure what all of that means, but we talked about it a lot. And you know what else we talked about today? We talked about a couple of people. I brought them up, but when I was going to grade school, say I'm 10 years old or whatever, I used to listen to WJOB just like a lot of other people. I often joke that we get our listeners from generation to generation of kids who have to sit in the back seat on the way to school, and they have to listen to WJOB. Well, I started out as one of those, and I listened to John Anastopoulos back in the early 1970s. And then when I worked here at WJOB the first time in the mid-'80s, I happened to be under the tutelage of a guy named Larry Peterson, and he was probably the best journalist ever to be in Northwest Indiana. Was also the most accepting talk show host. So even Anastopoulos in the 70s, who used to yell at people and call them idiots, he was well known to be fair, and he would listen to people even if he disagreed with them. Larry Peterson, same way. He had a show called Party Line on for like 37 years that was on from noon till 1. And I learned from Larry, even though I only worked under him for a couple of years. And then when we bought the radio stations in 2004, that's the kind of radio that we do here. We do the kind of radio that is just let everybody talk, and it really works. Generation after generation, WJOB goes on. But I really think that the world has changed, and you kind of got to be partisan in one way or another. It's kind of, that's how it's, just the average person is very partisan, and not that many people want to listen to other opinions. And obviously you can see by the boycott today that there's a certain group of guys that just don't want to hear Verly talk, and maybe it's whatever reason it is, they just don't want to hear it, and so they're going to boycott the station and not call in. And I know they're still listening, even though they're saying they're not. But that is, I think, kind of symptomatic of where we are. You can see what's happening in America, and I really do believe this, by just taking a good gander at radio. And that is one of the things. 70, 85, 2017. 70 and 85, people could give different opinions, and most people wanted to hear all the different opinions. Now you get to 2017, and we have a divide in this country, and it shows up on local radio.
My niece sat home and watched the game and was texting me that I was saying a kid's name, the wrong kid, for like the first quarter.
Oh, wow.
She's like, will you get it right? And I'm like, all right. And then another guys would text me like, I was calling Nick Fies, Nick Fees the whole game. And I'm dyslexic, and every game they tell me, they go, it's Fies. And I go, okay, Nick Fees is starting at one forward. And I'm like, all right, sorry about that. But it's been a very eventful week. High school basketball is good and pure, and is something that brings out the good in a lot of people. And
yeah. I was looking at the pictures online from the Times of all the folks at the East Chicago game, at Central. So it was really good to see people out there supporting the teams.
A lot of times when I get off the show or throughout the day, people will drop stuff off. It's a book, or everybody knows I'm into vinyl records or whatever. They'll drop off some records, or some people know I'm into the Grateful Dead. They'll come by with like a Grateful Dead t-shirt or something. So I get a lot of gifts, and I appreciate it. But I got to tell you that I have never gotten a meteor in all of my life. And all this reminds me of is, you ever see Joe Dirt? Which is a good radio movie. It's a movie about, remember Dennis Miller does the does. He's the radio host. Remember that they were given a meteor that they thought was a meteor, but it really just turned out to be poop that came out of an airplane. So I don't know if this qualifies, or in the end, it just smells like cigarettes because Andy smokes a lot. So anyways, it doesn't smell like poop from an airplane, although I wouldn't know what that smells like because I've never actually held a poop from an airplane in my hand. I've seen it one time when we were playing and I was littler, and I was out at the Nike site in Munster, and there had been some poop from an airplane that had fallen, and it was blue. So it looked entirely different from what this is. So that's what happens. Local radio, we have a good show today. Had, I don't know, maybe 15 callers. Not some of the normal callers that had boycotted. Of course, they didn't call in. And you know what it was? We had a number of new callers today. But a couple of them kind of stand out today. I had Mary from Highland call in. And Mary says she's been listening to WJOB off and on since like the 1960s. And she basically put it all into perspective when she said, you know, this boycott, and then you talking about the boycott, it's all childish. It's like high school lunch table stuff. And I'm like, well, isn't that what radio's all about, is like high school lunch table stuff? And to some extent, she's right, and to some extent, I'm right.